Okay, so I think we can get started. Wonderful. So we can see the chat's working. Everything over here is working fine. So again, hi everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Muna Assi, and I head the product marketing team here at Atera. And I'm excited to be moderating today's session with our very high valued customer today. And we're going to be talking about how EDSI cut IT tickets with Atera and AI Copilot. But just before we get into the details and hear from EDSI, I'd love to welcome our guests. Blaze, Jamie, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Blaze Vandenhoevel, Director of IT for EDSI.
Thank you, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Jamie Boyes, and I'm responsible at EDSI for digital transformation and innovation.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us today, and we're very excited to hear your story, your journey, and to learn more about how you've been leveraging Atera and AI Copilot. Daniela, go ahead. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Daniela Vasquez, and I'm a customer success manager here at Atera, and I've been working with Jamie and Blaze for over a year now. And I'm very excited to hear all the story and the progress that we've made together.
Wonderful. It's great to have you all with us. And again, just to remind our audience, we get asked a lot, is this session being recorded and how can I get access to the resource? So yes, we are recording this session. Anyone that is registered will receive an email within 24 hours with link to the session specifically. Of course, we don't want this just to be a conversation among us. We'd love to hear your questions. So please, if you do have any questions for our speakers today, feel free to type them either in the chat or in the Q&A box. And at the end of today's session, we will have a very, very short survey. It helps us improve. So please take 1 minute to answer a couple of questions. And this way we can continue to deliver on the things that you'd like to hear. So without further ado, I'd love to hand off to Blaze to tell us a little bit more about EDSI.
Thanks very much. Again, Blaze Vandenhoevel, I'm the Director of IT for EDSI. I work out of New York City. But EDSI is a private workforce development and consulting company based in Dearborn, Michigan. We were founded in 1979. And if you don't know workforce development, we pretty much work with local governments to try to match unemployed people with open job positions in the area. So I said we're based in Michigan, but we have offices in New York City, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Missouri, amongst others. EDSI is about 800 plus staff between all those locations. And we have about 35 or so physical locations throughout the country. I've been with EDSI for about 15 years. Couldn't be happier. We're a people first company. People being both the staff members as well as the clients that we serve. And, looking at these awards and the slides on the screen, we consistently win top places to work, best and brightest. We're certainly people centric and been here 15 years. Core values are show up, smile, and support. And Jamie and I try to do that every day for the company and for the team. Speaking of the team, there's 8 of us on the IT team. So, 800 staff members, eight IT team members, including myself. All but 2 of us have about 10 years or more at EDSI. So we have a couple of newer guys, but for the most part, everyone's been here for a while. Each of us are jack of all trades. We have some specializations and focuses, but for the most part, I mentioned before that I'm a director of IT, but this morning I was under a desk trying to unplug someone's printer to power cycle it. So it's all hands on deck. We're always doing anything that's asked of us. None of us are too big, or there's no task kind of below any of us. So we're in constant communication. We're on the same page with things, and it's nice to have these guys in different locations throughout the country to support our different offices. If there are issues, we know that any one of them can fix any type of issue. So it's been really cool. So overall, our responsibilities is just everything IT. Just the 8 people that you saw on those slides we manage everything from phones and voice, infrastructure, networking, user management, all levels of tier support, app development, innovation, digital transformations. Jamie's focused on. I do, and we do the governance and the strategic thinking for the IT department. So all of those, anything that you can think of related to IT is kind of what we're in charge for. We do the best we can to support remotely. We have 800 staff members. We have, offices, but we also have people working remote. The guys are boots on the ground when remote doesn't work. So a lot of those guys are traveling between offices 3 or 4 times a week as necessary. But we try to do what we can remotely, and Atera certainly helped us out with that portion of it. And then for our Atera journey, that started about 2020, COVID. I think a lot of IT people remember COVID pretty well or pretty poorly in a way where they don't want to remember it. But we had an RMM tool that was fine up until COVID, up until we realized that we need to utilize it a lot more with people working remotely and not going into the office. So we found some blemishes and some issues with the RMM tool that we were using. So I started looking into other options, other tools. So in 2021, after doing some research, seeing some Atera commercials, which I love, we wound up replacing ConnectWise, was what we were using at the time, with Atera. It saved us a ton of money. That was probably the first thing that drew me to it. But then after testing it out with the team, free trials, those proof of concepts, those sorts of things, we found that it was just a better tool for what we needed it for, right? Being able to connect to people's computers, whether it's managed or unmanaged, to get in there, to help them install things, to look at what errors they're having. It really helped us come a long way. It was a much easier tool for the end user as well as for our staff. So then we started using Atera for our RMM tool in 2021. 2023, as probably many IT people know, security companies started changing their pricing models. Right, you used to be able to pay one price and get everything that they offered. Now everything's a la carte. So they try to sell it as a good thing to you, but it really just costs more money if you want the full package, right? So we were looking to sort of, cut some more budget, or save money in different locations, areas, and Atera started implementing their patch management. So I started looking at that, and it was kind of a no-brainer once we started utilizing it, that we can get rid of. We didn't have to pay for our patch management going through our security company, and we can just utilize Atera for that. So that was just the second kind of stage of it, right? It was just RMM, and then now we're relying on Atera and trusting it for more in 2023. And this whole time we were using Zendesk for ticketing. Even before 2020, I think we were using Zendesk for ticketing, Jamie. I don't know if you recall the years, but around there, maybe a year or two before COVID. And Zendesk is fine, right? It's a good tool. We used it for a while. And Atera, we knew had ticketing through this whole time. At the time, we were comfortable with Zendesk. It's been around for a really long time. They had a lot of features and automations and things that we were using, and that at the time Atera didn't have. So we kind of kept waiting and pushing it back. Zendesk, of course, recently started increasing some prices, like everyone does, and even not so much of that, right? A lot of the other decisions were made based on budget. I think I kept going on these Atera webinars and demos and looking at the ticketing system and trying to see if it's there yet, if it can match Zendesk's features, and absolutely, right? So at the end of 2024, we made a decision that we were going to move from Zendesk to Atera for ticketing, and so we implemented it January 1st, 2025, and all the features, all the bells and whistles that Zendesk had, Atera has them now. So we're happy with that move. It's obviously saving us money as well, but it's all now embedded, right? Someone puts a ticket in, their device is in Atera and our RMM tool. We can patch it if we wanted to remotely. All those sort of features are interconnected. So when we first started with Atera, it was just a single use. Let's just replace one of our tools, and it wound up replacing 2 other tools, so 3 additional tools total. And we've been the better for it, for sure. I hope that wasn't too long of a ramble, Nina.
No, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And obviously, we want to talk more about AI Copilot, and we'll get that into the questions. I'd love to ask Jamie to tell us a little bit about his position at EDSI, because it's not every day, that we hear of this type of position in the IT department. So I'd love to hear where you come in within the organization and how Atera fits into your day to day.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So happy to talk about it. Going back, I've been with EDSI for 15 years. The first 7 years were not in the IT department, and I always loved technology, and I was offered an opportunity to come and work with the IT group and initially manage the user experience. So that's the UX in my title, to, from a customer service perspective, manage the interactions with the growing IT department in the growing organization. And that's when we had evaluated a couple of tools and landed with Zendesk. So, and going back to school, figuring out, a lot more of what I was very interested in, and it aligned also with what EDSI was doing, which was growing. And there's a growth of the organization. There's an explosion of AI automation technologies. I'm very interested in it. And, Blaze, kind of ringing Blaze's bell, and the organization as well, they basically said, well, let's just create this role for you. And you want to be involved in digital transformation, great. We need that at the organization. So it's turned into more of a consulting role, from an overview of what tools are we going to use, what tools make sense for the organization. We're in the middle of probably 5 or 6 projects. We were just talking about it this morning, with AI related app development, internal app development. And now we're making more of the higher level decisions about, okay, if we're going to develop an app, does it overlap with functions across the organization? Is it one-off? Do we have the time and the resources to do that? So we're making a lot of those kinds of decisions now. So what we really enjoy, and what I think is great about the Atera tool, is that it's integrated across even aspects of our IT service offering, which is great. We're able to take the existing machines that we have, and we were already tracking them, and now we're able to deploy patch management and scripting. Maybe I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but
all good.
But the ability to take all of the tickets, and then now I just logged in. I wanted to make sure and have an accurate, up-to-date number, and I went to the AI center, which is in Atera, and we have 154 available insights. And just the other day, we created 3 knowledge articles that will hopefully get people to solve tickets on their own, or actually say, hey, you know what, I read the knowledge article, close the ticket. We've had that happen a couple of times. I would like to have it happen more. But yeah, we spend most of the time, for me, figuring out what are some of the ways that we can connect people with technology. And this is one of the great ways that we can do that, because this is often our core interaction with staff, which is, I have a problem that needs some fixing. And we're able to use Atera to do that. It's all in one for us now, which is great. I love the efficiency of it.
Great. Thank you for that, Jamie, and I appreciate the insights there. And yes, we'll get into a few use cases. What I'd like to do is, just to kind of get some insights about our existing attendees, and see if any of them are using AI or AI Copilot in their day-to-day. So I'm going to launch a quick poll, and I'd appreciate if you guys can answer. And I hope I clicked that correctly. Just let us know, are you using an Atera AI Copilot today? Yes, not yet, no, and skeptical. We'd love to hear, and then that can even guide us through some of the conversation about how do you go about it. Okay, perfect. So let me see. I'm going to share. I see that some of our audience here is a little shy, but just for this team, we have the majority say yes, they are using Copilot, and the other part are saying not yet, but looking to try it. And I'm guessing this is why they're here today, in order to get some insights from yourselves about how you went about and how you got started with Copilot. So let's go back to our slides and get into the conversation. And forgive me, Blaze, I know that you covered some of this, but I'd like for us to go back and talk a little bit more in depth about what is it that originally, if you can recall back in those days, what challenges or inefficiencies did you have on your team, or not necessarily just inefficiencies, that led you to searching for a tool like Atera?
Yeah, without being too redundant, I'll maybe summarize some of it. One challenge for us, in my company, maybe for many IT departments, is just budget in general. I know I mentioned we're a private company, but the work we do is very similar to a nonprofit. And our people first mentality, we kind of operate financially on a nonprofit sort of level. So my biggest job is to try to save where I can, and being able to consolidate those multiple tools into one was a huge help, right? Anyone who has an RMM separate from ticketing, I'd be the first to say that's been the most fruitful thing that we've done so far. And then, specifically related to Copilot, and Jamie mentioned this, but the knowledge base. This was something that I try to get my team in Zendesk to do. Like, hey, if there's a ticket that you think is a good solution that we can use, they would do it. They would do it because I just said it in that week. But then I looked 3 weeks later and no one did any other knowledge base articles. Copilot's been very helpful with kind of flagging and say, hey, this might be something that you guys can use, and it helps. It's good for management purposes, right? If we create an article, it gets outdated pretty quickly. With Copilot, you can update it quickly. You can remove old ones and then add newer ones to replace them. It's a lot faster, and I don't have to bother the team with it, and the team doesn't really have to worry about it too much. It's not something an IT person likes to do is keep documentation if they're just trying to help people, right? So that was a big one. There are multiple systems. I mentioned that, just having having a ticket come in and the device of that user be associated with it, the user account associated with that information. Atera, the widget built in is fantastic. The help desk agent that allows users to submit a ticket, to go into their library and look at old tickets, and it allows for us to connect directly to their computers with information. So when they put a ticket in, we can kind of see all those things. So those are some big ones. And because it's so easy to access the ticket library for the user, with Zendesk, we were getting something I call the reply ticket syndrome, where I closed a ticket for someone a month ago and they can't figure out how to put a new ticket in, so they'll just reply to the old ticket, and then it has nothing to do with their new issue. So it says printer issue, but now I'm trying to help them with their phone, and then it only counts as one ticket. It skews our numbers. It just becomes a problem. With the Atera help desk agent, they can go right in and then just create a new ticket very simply. We haven't had any issues with those like reply tickets opening with Atera.
And Blaze, I have to say that, sorry, Daniela, that I also reply to old tickets. I find it and it's awful. It's awful. But since you did mention the phone, there is a question here, even though I did want to keep it to the end, where Brian asks, what are you using for a phone system? And have you connected it with Atera in any way?
No, we haven't been able to. Right now we're using a proprietary system called Cornexa, just a VoIP service. We've been looking into Teams phones, and I know there's some integration there with Atera, but at the moment, not yet, no.
Blaze, I also wanted.
Sorry.
Thank you, Muna. So you were talking about the knowledge base articles, and Jim Robinson's asking you if you're using the knowledge base for internal or external use. And maybe, Jamie, you can also jump in here and tell us about how you're using all the ticket automation rules and how you're connecting it to send those knowledge base articles to resolve issues with the automations.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Daniela. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Blaze.
Yeah, I was saying for internal and for both, right? So we're not having our job seekers or clients access the portal, but our staff members, right? The users that we're supporting are certainly, the knowledge base articles are meant for them in many ways, where they can come in and how to reset a password, how to do this, how to do that. And then we also are using it internally with my IT team. What do we do when we have to deactivate account? So we have articles internally for us, the IT team specifically, where if Jamie hasn't deactivated an account in a while, he'll know to take the exact steps in there. So it's almost kind of keeping our guidelines there as well. Go ahead, Jamie. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, all good, Blaze. So one of the things that was really important to us, critically important, was that we'd been with Zendesk for 6 years almost, and we had a highly customized instance where Zendesk has a separate triggers and automations. Triggers is event-based and automations are time-based. So it was really important for us from a service perspective to duplicate exactly as we possibly could all of those in Atera. And Danielle has been great. We've met, several times to kind of fine tune all of that. But what we found out was ultimately, with the little bit of nuance in changing over to the system in Atera, all of our triggers and automations we were able to duplicate those in Atera. And those do include using our quick reply email templates that we have a library of email templates in there that we're utilizing. We are now using some of the lessons that we learned in Zendesk. We are tagging tickets and then using those tags in subsequent automations. So one of the examples is if a ticket has been unanswered and in a pending status for a certain amount of time, we tag that ticket, email the end user, and then say, hey, it looks like you haven't replied in a little bit. If we don't hear from you in another 2 days, we're going to close the ticket. And then in the next round, we search for the time and then also that tag, so it then closes the ticket, and then we send them the follow-up email template. Hey, we closed your ticket. We copy the technician on it. So we're able to do lots of those things, and including, for certain tickets, if a technician if the ticket is awaiting a technician response for longer than, I think we did 4 hours, we ping them via email like, hey, there's a ticket that's waiting for your response. And sometimes it's the technician just didn't update status. Great, update the status. That timing will then disappear. And then sometimes it's, I do need to reply to that ticket. So we found that was very intuitive. And once Daniela helped me kind of look at it through the Atera eyes and how things were arranged, using that plus my expertise in working with Zendesk for all those years, it was very seamless. And I can't speak enough about how great the Atera team was, Daniela specifically, on being available, working with us through. We thought, well, hey, we might be just bothering you at some point because we keep asking follow-up questions, but it was very, very helpful and available to us to get that tuned in. So.
It's always fun working with you, Jamie, and the whole team.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you sharing that. And if we're already talking Copilot, maybe Daniela, we'd love for you to give us like a short intro of what is Copilot. We're not going to go into demos today, but just to keep for the other half of the audience that's not users but looking into it.
Yes, of course. So the Copilot is the AI tool that we've developed, which allows the technicians to have a support on resolving many different type of issues that you can experience. And Jamie would be able to tell you as well how it's integrated not only on the RMM side, but also on the ticketing side. So the Copilot can lead you and it's going to prompt you. You can have a conversation with it to understand what's causing the issue. It'll understand if you have a ticket, for example, it'll understand what the issue is, and it's going to give you suggestions on how to solve it. So Jamie, maybe you want to share on specific use cases that you've had and how you're using. You mentioned already how you're creating knowledge-based articles, but I'm interested in hearing how you're connecting all of the Atera tools together with a Copilot.
Yeah, great question. So I snuck over and looked at a ticket that just came in today. And one of the great things for us is that we can use ticket auto reply. So inside of the ticketing system, there's an icon where you can look at a ticket and you can generate a reply to the ticket. And what's really helpful for that is it's just, like we use Copilot for Microsoft, and sometimes it needs a little bit of editing, but the more that you use it, we're finding that it gets more accurate to what the issue is. And there's two things in the ticket with AI Copilot related. So you can generate a reply to the ticket right in line and then submit that reply. And then from a ticket itself, which we've done several times, you can generate a knowledge base article right from inside the ticket. And that's fantastic. that the requires very little editing, what we found, and you can put the articles and arrange them any way that you'd like. So what we'd like to do, it's now been a full half of year and a little bit that we've been live with Atera, is we're going to try to steer people more towards the knowledge base articles and get to some more self-service, because there's a couple of big contracts that we might be winning that might increase our employee count quite a bit, and we're trying to save as much time as we possibly can. And then the suggested actions from the technician side of it might be related to this. And then the biggest thing I would say that I don't know if we've covered this quite enough is having the ability to splash top connect right to somebody's device, right from inside a ticket. We haven't tracked exactly how much time that's saved, but I guarantee there's a significant time savings, because we no longer have to go look up in another system what's their device number and then connect with them via splash top. It's all connected right here inside of a ticket. So there's a splash top button. I'm looking at a ticket right now. I just click the splash top button. It'll automatically open up splash top RMM, and it'll direct connect to their device and give you the patch history of the device. You can push a patch through to their device. There's a lot of really great value there, I think.
Thank you, Jamie. And what about that? Sorry, please go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I was going to say we just took over an office, and we had about 40 computers we needed to deploy applications on and whatnot, and we used the scripting. Copilot helped us come up with the scripting for that. So absolutely perfect. And then just basic troubleshooting too. Copilot, when there's running out of hard drive space, kind of other issues. If you're unsure where to go, it had us uninstall a driver the other day that actually fixed the problem after we tried 20 different things. So its recommendations on what is potentially wrong with the computer and how it could fix it have been really surprising, actually, really good.
Thank you, Blaise. I wanted to mention, since Jamie spoke about the splash sub, also how the Copilot has a splash sub summary. So you go into the device, you explore, you do different things, and you can always get a summary that the Copilot will create for you on what's been done. So this is also good for security, for understanding the procedures. Maybe you forgot exactly what you did, and then the Copilot is going to be able to remind you what happened during that session.
Yep, thank you for that, Daniela. And again, stepping a little bit back, both Jamie, Blaise, how was the onboarding of AI Copilot? And I think we talked about the capabilities, but more to understand, since it, as you described earlier, Blaise, that, as an organization, you've taken, I don't want to call them baby steps, but you've decided on where do you want to put your focus and implement the first part of Atera. And then you moved into patching, later into ticketing. So maybe you can describe to us, like, when was that decision point of, okay, we're going to also bring in AI? And then we can talk about, as a leader, what does it mean for other organizations as they're considering AI tools into their tech stack?
Yeah, good questions. AI, right? Can't get enough of it, or maybe there's too much of it, but it's there, right? Like we have to talk, we have to deal with it, we have to talk about it. So there were certainly, concerns, right? When you open up your organization to any AI, right? And being the head of the department, it's my job to be the worried parent, right? And to make sure that we're doing the right thing. Luckily for our company, we created an AI acceptable use policy, and I ensure that all the software that we're using and the services that we use are, follow along those guidelines and the policies. And safe to say that Atera has and does, and we haven't had any issues. That the splash top thing that Daniela recommended is very important, is great. We've had users and managers come back to us and say, hey, one of your guys was on our computer. What happened? What did they do? And we have a report of it. But similarly with the security and the infrastructure around how we build things out, after just going through how Copilot works, what it is, what it does, I wasn't concerned at all after, kind of vetting it and looking at it. So haven't looked back. We've been using it ever since and haven't had to worry. And then you asked about, how maybe other companies could implement it. It's a really good question. I think it's also very dependent on the IT team and the company, right? I think having an AI acceptable use policy or just guidelines and governance, like that stuff is very important to make sure you have in place. It's hard to bring in new products and things into your environment without having those guardrails set. But I think, just with solutions like Copilot and any AI solutions, I think it's limitless, right? In ways, like we know that there's cost to it and there's other things. But the biggest problem that I think Jamie and I have is identifying the actual problem, right? We know AI is a solution. It's a solution looking for a problem, really. And the only way you can really implement AI well is if you have a very specific use case, a very specific problem that you're trying to tackle. What's great about Copilot, it is very specific. It's in your Atera system. It's whatever you're doing. It's you're managing your devices, your tickets, those kinds of things. It's there, and it can just support you more than what you had previously to that, right? So I think Copilot is a very specific use case and sort of follows my guidelines of, hey, let's implement AI, but it has to be for a specific purpose. We have to have specific challenges in order to do it. So again, it's on a case by case basis, depending on the company, the size of the team, the size of the company, etc. But for me, like I said, I think I said before, we haven't looked back after saying yes to Copilot.
Amazing. And I want to ask you, you described that you have this small, mighty team that's dealing with hundreds of employees, but on a team level, is everyone using the AI tool? And then are there concerns or were there concerns from certain employees? If I use, Jamie gave the example of using it for responses or using it to expedite KBs. Is there a fear that employees would think that, it makes them less, not so much accountable, but less proficient? Are there any of those concerns or security concerns that you just talked about?
Yeah, I don't know if it was necessarily vocalized to me, right? But even when I saw it, whenever you see something like this that could potentially replace the work that you do, it gets a little scary. But I'm always of the guidance that these AI tools are really supplemental, all right? As good as strong, as powerful as they can be, you still need someone to drive. I think, right? Steve Jobs said, "The computer is the bike for the mind." I look at AI as like the electric bike for the mind, right? So you still need the person to drive the bike. It's a little easier. You can go uphill and you don't have to pedal so hard, right? So I think there's value in being concerned, but after the team has used it, and I guess in the beginning, sure, was there reluctancy? We had a team meeting. Okay, introduce it. Like, this is how you can use it. And like, okay, cool. And then the next week, did you use it? No. All right, why not? And then kind of, checking in with them, bringing it back up 3 weeks later. Sometimes, people are stubborn, including myself. You kind of, Jamie will then say, "Oh, you know what I did? I had this ticket, and I did the thing, and I made a knowledge base article, and it answered it for me, and it told me to, if there was low disk space to do this thing, and it worked." And then they saw that, like, "Oh, okay, that was cool." Someone else came to me and said, "Hey, I needed to run a script for something." I said, "Did you try the Copilot yet?" The last 3 scripts I wrote were based on through Copilot. So then they started using it. So I think they needed to kind of see the success a little bit, and they kind of needed to get it. But now they're using it without any sort of issue, and to withhold it from them, whether it's their choice or not, it's I think a disservice, right? I think these are additional tools that'll make them more efficient and successful. And again, I haven't looked back. I keep saying that, but yeah, it's true.
Thank you, Daniela. Did you want to add anything there?
I'm good. We can continue.
Okay, so I think my final point here before we open it up for Q&A, and this is my cue to the audience, please feel free to add your questions, is, any final guidance, and I think you spoke to this as part of what we discussed, that you can offer organizations similar to yours that are reluctant to adopting Atera and AI Copilot, not just Copilot. If you want to give any final guiding words as how to go about it, it would be great.
I will say just, refer to your policies, your AI acceptable use information, but secondly, do it, right? Like it's been great. Your team will thank you for it, even if they seem wary of it. It's only beneficial for them. It's been beneficial for us. We're seeing the benefits of it. It's saving us time, and we get to connect more, right? We're a people-focused company, so having that extra time, a little more, a couple more minutes to have a more bedside manner, to have the Copilot to generate the solution to the problem, but then us write 3 sentences and saying, oh, it's been great dealing with you with this ticket, and if you have any other questions, let me know. Add the kind of the positivity and the personal feel to it. That's been fantastic for us as that kind of company. So yes, I follow your guidelines, but also I think go for it.
Thank you. From your perspective, Jamie, any guiding words based on, some of the work that you're doing? I think you gave a great tip of showing the example and leading by example, but any guiding words that you want to put forward?
Yeah, it was so seamlessly implemented for us, the AI portion of it, that it's not that we didn't know that it was there, but we had to go, and to Blaze's comment, we had to go find what was the problem that needed solving. And then once we started to connect those two, that was very easy for us. And, from a perspective of our user experience, we've had 65,000 tickets that we've officially had since we went from Zendesk and now including Atera.
Wow.
And our rating out of 5 on how would you rate the quality of your experience with us is 4.93 out of 5. So we're very proud of the service that we provide. And this is just helping us do that. It was easy to implement. It was easy to configure. It's easy to use. And then how everything's connected together. We look forward to utilizing AI Copilot more as we're figuring out internally what are some of the other systems to connect to it and some of the other processes that we can connect to it. Yeah, it's been great, Muna.
Thank you very much for those words. And I think now we'd like to open it up for Q&A. And as we encourage our audience, Daniela, I'd love from your perspective, since you've been working with Jamie and with Blaze, a little bit about, what's the next steps right now in terms of the account and the areas where, again, they've seen a lot of efficiencies. What are kind of the next steps within the organization?
Of course. So we've been working very closely from the PSA, RMM side, now the Copilot. And I think now that we've started to put everything together, and as you heard during this webinar, how everything falls into one place and one workflow, the next steps for us, I know that Jamie really enjoys working with reporting. We're also adding a lot of AI into reporting as well. So I think our future and the future plans that we have, it's working together with Jamie and Blaze on getting the correct data, and for you to get all the data regarding ticketing and the RMM, the patching, so that you can create different automations and workflows that can help you improve and also have more efficiency and more time. As you say, you're very people oriented, so we want to make sure that we're letting all the automation and all the AI possible take all the work possible, so you can continue working and growing on different projects and focusing on your people.
Thank you for that. And Jamie, to your point about, owning employee experience, there is a question here about, are you considering, and I'm not selling anything here, a solution like IT Autopilot as a next step? Yes or no? I'm not sure. I hope you're familiar with IT Autopilot, especially with your 60,000 tickets and end users. Maybe Blaze, Jamie, both?
Yeah, we've been thinking about it for sure. Trying to keep the balance of keeping the team busy enough, but not too free for idle hands in a way, right? With remote workers and things, you kind of want to make sure that they're in the know and on top of the tickets coming in. Because we're a people company, we're trying to keep it as in person and communicative and with people as possible. There is definitely something to say for our hours, right? Like we stop at 5 p.m. If someone needed to get access to their email after 5, they'd have to wait till the next day. I know Autopilot will help users kind of do that, and the integrations with other systems is really intriguing. So it's certainly on the plate, and kind of like what I did with the ticketing is I'm watching every webinar that you guys do about Autopilot, and I'll be on the trend for sure.
Thank you. I hope that answers your question, Shweta. And obviously, I didn't hear Blaise say my concern is the end users engaging with an AI agent, but you did allude to the human touch and the importance of having that part. So, looking forward to your next steps there. Daniela, again, I think our audience is pretty quiet here. Any questions that we want to say before we close it with some final words and the great insights that the team has shared with us here?
I'd also love to hear from Jamie and Blaise. I mentioned what we could be working on, and also would love to hear from you if you have any other projects or ideas that Atera can help you with, and also with the Copilot, as we spoke, RMM, PSA reporting.
Yeah, I think we are. Jamie just sent me an Atera report this morning, so I'm going to be looking at that, and we're trying to use it to get some cost reimbursed back to us, basing on what we spent and the time that my team has been spending on. So we might need to delve a little deeper into it. I think the initial look at it has been great, better than some other reportings that we have with other systems. So that's been really good. But Jamie knows me, and I'm going to be asking for many tweaks, I'm sure, anyway. So you might have to help us out with that, Daniela, for sure.
Of course, we'll be working together on that.
Yeah.
Wonderful. But would you say that your key metric right now, your key KPI, is that satisfaction that Jamie talked about? As as a leader looking into the tools that you're using, that's how you measure overall success?
Yes. And listen, first response time and total resolution time, those numbers are fantastic as well. They've only gotten better. They've actually been really good for a while, but they've gotten better once we made the move to Atera. But yes, the user satisfaction is extremely important, just based on the company that we are, right? We're not a tech company. We're a people-facing company. We're here to help people get jobs, to place people in the right positions, to train them, etc. And the IT team's job is only to support all of that. So as long as those people are saying that we're doing a good job, that's what we need. That's it.
Amazing. And so it's very exciting. I'm really happy to have you join us today. Super appreciative. Thank you for your insights. Thank you for sharing your story and for telling us and how you're leveraging the product. Any final words before we thank our audience? Maybe some final words from your end, Jamie, and then we can
yeah, sure. If there's any question about using a feature, you guys at Atera have been great with letting us. We've tested a couple of things, and we haven't used everything that we've tested. But if you think it might be a good play for your tech stack at your organization, I would just say reach out to Atera, give it a try. What we're finding out is that every time that we have implemented something, it's been easier to use than we had originally hoped, which is always great. And then, we're looking for the next play. We're not against, the integrations with the IT autopilot. We're not against using agentic AI. And when Blaise had talked about the after 5 p.m. thing, our CEO leans more towards, he calls it life-work balance. So, not so sure if the after 5 p.m. play is going to be really necessary, because if we look, we don't really get a ton of tickets after office hours anyways. We have some automations that happen after hours. So maybe there's, Daniela, maybe there's a play there where we can, set up automations behind the scenes after hours, but we don't get that many people reaching out beyond that for that to be a benefit. But as features are released and Blaze attends more webinars, I mean, I will as well. We're probably going to be looking at adding some more to what we're using. So
Amazing. Thank you so much. Blaze, do you want to say any final words?
No, thank you for having us. It's been great from two guys from a very people-centric company. It's great to see an IT company like you guys be very people-centric as well. I mean, we've had many conversations. You guys are always there to support. Implementation has been great. You're always following up with us. Really appreciate it and really appreciate your time.
So thank you so much. Thank you, Daniela, for joining us as well. We absolutely appreciate this meetup today. And thank you. Continue doing the great work that you do. And just a final word for our attendees, please take a minute. I'm going to launch the survey. Just take a minute to answer 3 questions and hope to see you again on our next Atera webinar. Thanks so much. Thank you, gentlemen, and have a great rest of week.
thanks again.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.